Hey guys, welcome back to Freedom 350. Have you noticed that ever since the White House came out with their executive actions on gun violence in this country, that in the media there's been a substantial uptick in the reporting of mass shootings around the US? It's kind of strange. There really weren't a lot of mass shootings in 2020 during the whole lockdown phase, right? I mean, there was gang shootings in Chicago and stuff like that were technically mass shootings because they involved 3 or 4 or more victims in one shooting event. But typically when you think of a mass shooter, especially the media's perspective, it's going to be usually a white guy out there shooting more than 4 or 5 people, or shooting at more people, maybe only wounding or killing 4 or 5. And we really didn't hear that much about shootings like that. Now that those executive actions are out, we're hearing a lot and seeing a lot more reporting on mass shootings across the country. But like I said, the media usually follows a certain narrative, and if it doesn't follow that narrative, they don't tend to use it. Kind of like the school shooting in Knoxville. It really wasn't a school shooting, it was probably more gang related. Well, there was a recent shooting in Kenosha, the same area where I think his name was Jacob Blake, got shot in the back by cops when he was going into his truck because the police were called by, I think, his ex-wife. They got into an altercation. He did have a knife. He's actually admitted that he had a knife.
I'm rattled, I realized I had dropped my knife. I had a little pocket knife. So I picked it up after I got off of him because they tased me and I fell on top of him. His is in there, probably face on the window. I'm about to get in here and check on my kids. In the video, you hear them saying, drop the knife. I think a couple people were saying that, but I didn't hear none of that.
And when he went around to the driver's side and opened the car, the cops don't know what he's going to get or what he's going to do. And the cop ended up shooting him in the back, and now he's paralyzed, sadly, right? That happened in Kenosha, and that's what sparked the peaceful protests in Kenosha. Well, recently there was another shooting there in Kenosha at a bar, and it was a mass shooting because there were more than 3 people were shot in that one event. The media initially picked it up because they knew it was a shooting. They didn't get all the details. And then once the details came out on who the shooter was, they kind of backed off. Reason being is the shooter was a black guy, and that doesn't fit their narrative, and that doesn't help the whole Black Lives Matter movement at all. But along with the media not really covering that story, that's kind of related to a slightly bigger story, right? Now, we've seen in the media that a lot of attention is being paid to recent Asian hate crime. They're saying that the Asian hate crime stems from Trump's label of the coronavirus as the China virus. But that's not really the case. The media will talk about Asian people being assaulted, hate crimes being portrayed against them, but they never told you who the perpetrators were. Those perpetrators were black men, and they didn't want to put that out to hurt the Black Lives Matter movement or their narrative. There can be a little beef between the Asian American community and the Black American community because a lot of times, especially like in LA area, you get a black community, the corner store, the liquor store where you get all your weave at, they're owned and operated by Asian Americans. I mean, you guys remember the whole rooftop Koreans during the riots, the LA riots, right? Yeah, it always makes me think of that one scene in the movie Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. It's a Wayans Brothers movie, and it's a comedy that encompasses all the 1990s in the ghetto themed movies. And there's one part where they walk into the corner store, and the little ringer that lets the owners know or the workers there know that someone just came into the establishment, instead of being just a ding ding, it said, pretty funny. It said the word that you're not supposed to say unless you're a black American. You know, the word that starts with an N and ends with an A or an AS in this situation. But anyways, that's the reason why they weren't really focusing on the perpetrators, just focusing on, oh, it's Asian hate and it's because of Trump. I don't know what it is with the media and Trump. It's like they're addicted. They need him. And because he's not around, they're suffering a lot. But if you can, try and pay attention to the news. Like, get an app that has breaking news on it, and you probably see this for yourself. They'll initially report it, and if it doesn't fit their narrative, they're not going to report it anymore. It's just going to fade away. Pretty easy to see, and that's media manipulation. I mean, Project Veritas just caught this CNN guy boasting to a Tinder date that that's exactly what CNN was doing. They would talk about the Asian hate crime, but they wouldn't talk about the Black Americans being involved, the black males, because it didn't fit their narrative and it would go against what the Black Lives Matter movement is trying to do. And now that we're talking about Black Lives Matter, I mean, the co-founder buying several homes, one house alone was 1.4 million, and that was in the LA Hills, very predominantly white community. And now Facebook is censoring articles about that are critical of that Black Lives Matter co-founder. It's kind of like how Twitter banned Project Veritas or for reporting on CNN. So in a sense, Twitter's white knighting for CNN, kind of like Facebook white knighting for the BLM co-founder. She's doing it just for money. None of the money that Black Lives Matter, the organization, has come into has gone to any black community. They're getting a lot of money. Where's that money going to? It's going to other political campaigns to get the people that they want in office, seeing as how that BLM co-founder admits she's a trained Marxist. Last I checked, this was America, and we don't really like Marxism, communism, extreme socialism. Social programs are fine, but a socialist government will always change and turn into a communist one. But that's all I got for this video. If you liked it, go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Head over to the Freedom 350 Facebook page. That's where I will post all the video and anything else for this channel. If you'd like to support this channel, you can go to ballisticink.com and go to my section, and you'll be able to pick from shirts, t-shirts. That supports my main channel, which is 50%, which is a Second Amendment channel. It also supports this channel because I'm the same guy, right? So with that, I'll see you guys next time.